Morning, everybody. Welcome to my LinkedIn live stream for the Power Connection broadcast. My name is Bob Umar, and I'm here today to chat with you about different topics around career development, entrepreneurship, personal branding, public speaking, business development, leadership, thought leadership, all that kind of stuff that I love. So, today's topic is about health challenges in the workplace. Have you ever had a health challenge in the workplace, or have you had a friend who's dealt with a health challenge in the workplace? And how do the workplaces there support you best? What are they doing that are good practices? What are they doing that they should stop doing in terms of a practice? And again, my channel here at Broadcast is every day at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from Monday to Friday. And what I usually do is I talk a bit about some stories and insights in terms of the topic, and then I also invite you to share your thoughts, your questions, and we have a great discussion together as a community. So thanks so much for joining me. And sorry if one of the reasons I talk about health is actually if I seem low energy today, it's because I haven't had enough sleep, and so I'm feeling a little bit tired. But apparently, my energy is high enough and adrenaline's high enough that I can actually still be okay. But I definitely am pretty tired. But I want to put that out there and be transparent about that. And it also kind of inspired the talk for today. So while we're beginning and people are joining the channel and the broadcast, why don't you guys share below where you're from? Some people have been calling in from or listening in from Australia, Africa, Europe, South America. I haven't seen as many South Americans, but a lot of Australia, a lot of Europe, India, some from Africa, of course North America, Canada, US has been there. I'd love to see more people from South America. And again, if you know someone that's going to be interested in this topic, this conversation, or wants to share their insights, tag them below, or you can also share this link on your feed and get people to invite them to this broadcast. So. What I'll start off with is a kind of a quick story, and actually let me say hi to a few people here. Okay, morning to Brenda and hey James. There's two different James, and then Marianne's here. Thank you, Marianne, for the very kind message. Brenda's from Detroit, Michigan. Sajid Kumar's here. Okay, James from Georgia. Wow, cool. Joshua's here. That's awesome. So. Let me tell you my story. So I had my first ever panic attack in 2006 at my job. And it was a very weird thing because what happened was I had screwed up on something. And the other thing, I was working really long hours, so I was very stressed like that. And I also didn't know that I was having some health issues internally, but you don't know sometimes, and your body just kind of like, says, hey, dude, stop what you're doing and, listen up to me. And I had screwed up something at work, and I went into Zimbabwe's here, awesome. I went into work and I screwed up on something, and then my director, my manager's manager, called me into his office, and I started having a panic attack. I started like I couldn't breathe. I had my heart palpitation, my hands were sweaty. I was stone faced. He was asking me questions. I just couldn't answer anything, and it was a very awkward, weird moment. And I didn't know what it was at first, and then I went to see a counselor afterwards, and I described what happened, and he said, "Oh, you had a panic attack," and I was like, "Ha, panic attack? Please, me? What? I'm as chill as a cucumber, man." And I denied it. I couldn't believe it, but he's like, "No, that was a panic attack," and I was like, "Wow, okay, maybe it was." And the part that's really interesting is that I was the one who felt shame about it. At the time, I felt shame for what I went through and embarrassing myself in front of my director and things like that. And the truth is, to this day, I never told him. I never told him about it. And I should have. I should have said, you know what, I saw a counselor and they said I had a panic attack, and, it was something that I wish I'd known, and I'm sorry for, and just say, and the good news is that I've never had one since. Thank goodness, knock on wood, right? I haven't had a panic attack since. But, it made me think about, if something like that happens to you in the workplace, how do you manage or process that situation? Do you be upfront about it? Do you tell your boss, your manager, your team about what's going on with you health-wise? I mean, I told you up front that I'm having, I didn't have much sleep last night, so I'm feeling a little bit, eyelid heavy. But, you're my audience I feel very comfortable and authentic and vulnerable with, right? Whereas with a boss, it's a little bit harder because you're like, oh, well, I don't want to, and people do this all the time. They won't take a sick day because they want to impress their boss. They withhold information about anything from their physical, mental health, and things like that. And I'm sure many of you have done the same thing. And then the story continues in the sense that it continued to get worse. So that happened in January 2006, and I actually had. And then one of the things that happened was I was also trying to look at my health because we were trying to start a family. We were having trouble, and so I went to the doctor and had some testing done in November, December, and then I never went back because I was so busy with work. And then finally had the panic attack, and then 3 months later in March, I finally went to the doctor to get my test results from November, December. Right, 4 months later. And he said, I think we have a problem. Oh, okay, what's the problem? He's like, well, let's do another test and come back in a week. I said, okay. So I did another test, came back a week later. He's like, okay, it's confirmed you have diabetes. A normal blood sugar level is 6.2 or lower, and your blood sugar in December was 12.2, and your blood sugar level in March is 16.6. And you need to get this under control, otherwise it's gonna really damage you. That's why you're feeling tired. That's why you had the panic attack. That's why you having trouble working long hours anymore. That's why your mouth is dry. All these different things. And I was like, wow, okay. And look, I'm glad to hear people are saying that they're talking about losing their voice or workplace stress and depression. That's good. I'm glad you're talking about these things, guys. Good. Keep sharing below the different challenges or things you've talked about in terms of workplace and health challenges. So back to the story, I looked at that and I took a week off work for holiday just to kind of figure out what was going on. And then finally, I went back to my manager. I said, "Look, I need to take a couple weeks off to get my blood sugar down to normal, and I'd like to actually reduce my 80-hour week schedule to something normal, and like 50. I said 50, like that's normal, but it's not. I just said that because at the time, and that's the way I used to think. And then I told the same thing to HR. I said, look, I need to take 2 weeks off, get my health back in order, and I want to scale my hours back to something normal. And then 3 weeks later, I got a package. See you later. We don't want to deal with you. There's probably someone out there who will take your place and work 80 hours and not have health issues and blah, blah, blah. And now you think, well, that's so unfair and that's so horrible for them to do it. Well, at the same time, I've learned that businesses, their number one thing they care about is profitability. So, if there's a liability, they try to find a way to manage that. And they managed me well because when I saw the offer, I was thrilled. I was like, okay, this is great. I'm happy to do this. And what's great about that is that it eventually led to me starting my career as a professional speaker, and that was 14 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. So that was a good thing. I think it was great. And the other interesting thing was 2 months later, that very same time, my wife almost died of E. coli, and she was in the hospital in the ICU for a week, and in the hospital for another week, and I took care of her for 2 more months, and we were like, wow, okay, we need to reassess our lives and our health and work and all this kind of stuff. And it was a really eye-opening experience about what we want to do with our lives, how we want to spend our time. So, the truth is that, and we all deal with health issues in different ways. Some deal with mental health, physical health, stress, work, life at home might be difficult. There's different things that we're all challenged to. Sometimes, and Simeon makes a really good point, a lot of workplace health challenges come from a toxic environment. I know that for hundreds of my friends and clients I've worked with, that they are just sitting there and having a really difficult time. So, but the point is, these things are going to happen, and my biggest message for you is that it's not your fault. You ever see Good Will Hunting, right? Robin Williams and Matt Damon, and he's telling him, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And that is so true, because we're human and it's normal. It's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to have health challenges. Don't let anyone say otherwise. And if you see anyone saying that otherwise to them, you need to call that out, because it's perfectly normal to have health challenges. It's just a question of how we manage it, and to encourage employers to support that as much as we possibly can. So for me, your health challenges are critical to understand and be aware of, and it's also it's important for you to fight for the support you need to get through these things, no matter what that health challenge is. So on that note, what are some things that workplaces can do that can help? I mean, one of the things that my workplace did for that one at the time was, and again, let's want to say hi to everyone. Yeah, the most important things, Marianne, I think, are your health and your family. Like whether you have kids or you have a partner, or whether you're not have a wife, partner, or kids, but you have your parents or your siblings, and you need to take care of them. But your health too. Those two things are the most important things you need to take care of. And unfortunately, yeah, and you're right, Marianne. A lot of employers are like this, and it's but again, it goes back to the thing that I talk about, which is the whole thing about what do employers value, right? What do corporations value? Number one is profitability, and people can be really high up there. Maybe number two, some great, all the greatest place to work. Number two, it's about people, which is great, right? But still, if push comes to shove and somebody needs to be let go, that person will be let go. And again, if you're liking what you're hearing, what we're talking about, by all means, please like, comment, love, clap, all the light bulbs, whatever these things are. Tag people to be part of the conversation. Share us on your profile. Let's get people part of the conversation to talk about health challenges in the workplace. So now that I've talked about kind of my story, what some of the stuff that I've been through, I'd like to talk more about what are some of the workplaces that do good things, and what are some of the bad things they're doing that they should stop. And I'm looking to. You lost your last job due to a toxic manager. Yeah, that's really difficult. Thanks, Anthony and Anthony. It's Marie. Good to see you. Okay, James has shared a little link here. That's kind of cool. Yeah, workplace needs to be empathetic with their health. I mean, here's the thing: a workplace boss, as soon as they have a health challenge, and everyone's really they understand better, right? The same thing happens all the time. And James mentions age discrimination, which is similar to, we talked about diversity yesterday, diversity and inclusion. So age discrimination definitely help happens whether you're young and old. What are some things that workplaces can do? Well, the original workplace that let me go actually had they had counseling that I took up, right? So I went to the counselor, and that was actually very helpful to identify that I had a panic attack. I thought that was really good. I didn't, and I didn't even know about that. So that was really good to have it. So having different health plans and support plans for employee support, I think is really good. Other things you can do is encourage a culture of health and wellness. Have a fitness center, or encourage people to do like a fitness program in the morning, or go for a walk. I know a lot of company cultures, that they do stuff at lunch. On the opposite side, there are companies that have a culture where people have working lunches. I think that's terrible. It's a terrible thing to have, where people now book meetings before lunch, or they book meetings really, really super early, right? And they're taking away your time to get up and to go for a walk, or go work out, or meet with friends and socialize, because you need to have that kind of stuff for a healthy management of your own life, as well as the life at work. And again, if you have questions about this topic, comment below and let's have the question. I see one already here. Have you ever seen disconnects between company values and how they actually live out, they treat their employees? That's why I don't trust company values. Well, yeah, yeah. Let me tell you a funny story. Almost every company I've worked for has a list somewhere of company values, right? Now the big question is, you can have posters of your values, but is the workplace living their actual values? It's actually pretty rare. Some are great, absolutely, but it's actually far more rare. Another good example is when I was working at another company, and again, a place where everyone worked long hours, 60 hours a week. The HR department, by their office, put this list of employee rights, list of employee rights and their company values. And one of the things that was there was it said the employee should never have to work more than 48 hours without proper compensation. And it was just funny because that definitely wasn't happening in the workplace. Like there was hundreds of people working 60 hours a week or more. And what was interesting is that but no one would bring it up. Not a single person would bring it up in the marketing department. Why? Because if they did, then they're afraid about losing their job or something going on, or not losing their job, but work can find a way to make things difficult for you, right? They definitely, that's happened to me. I've been squeezed out, where they don't give you opportunities, they don't promote you, they don't move you, and things like that. And it was actually quite hilarious. And so no one would say anything. Now that said, when I saw the poster, I was like, well, why isn't HR advocating on our behalf to try to help us have better compensation? Well, probably because again, money and creating this situation where you now have to pay way more money because and the culture would be devastated because of the shift. I mean, who knows? But I thought it was really funny because yeah, the values that are cited on walls or by HR, they need to be again espoused by the people that are there. And yeah, another thing that James mentioned is oftentimes owners and leaders can't see the abuse that they give, and also that's interesting. Owners can't see or hear psychological abuse from managers with when you work remotely. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I hadn't thought about that. Um, and Dave mentioned something where he read a really interesting piece the other day mentioning the company values and conversation with colleagues helps to grow those actual values. Yeah, I think that having those conversations are really, really important. Don't just have a poster, talk about it, and then act on it, right? Because it's one thing to tell people, it's another thing to talk to people about it, and it's another thing to actually show people how it's done. In my startup, DYP, Discover Your Personal Brand, we actually have quarterly meetings where we talk about our values, and we actually engage and encourage the discussion in that because it's so important. And Mitch says, unfortunately, many of us need a stressful to inspire. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I think that there is such a thing as a positive stress environment. Absolutely. So some people thrive on stress, but there's also stress that's bad. So it's important to know the difference. I mean, some people love fast-paced environments. Other people do not. So it's important to understand how that works, right? And Simon Siemens says worked for a firm whose last value was smile. I thought about what? I mean, if people aren't happy, no amount of freebies is going to help that. So it's important to, again, for HR, for bosses, for team members to engage people in workplace health challenges. Now, that's it. What are some of the health challenges that you had in terms of your workplace? Have you had to take time off? Have you felt shame around that? Have you felt, like you couldn't take a sick day? I mean, a really classic one is you get sick, like you're so sick. Like what happens is you get sick, but you go to work, right? You work through this thing, and it's like, okay, my head's pounding, my stomach's queasy, but I'm gonna plow through the day at 80%, right? And then the next day you're just so bad, you're like you're basically functioning at 20%. So then you call in sick, okay, fine, call in sick. And then you rest all day, or worse, you get in your laptop and you try to do a little bit of work. Like, come on, take the day off, rest, fluids, sleep, whatever. Go watch Netflix. I mean, what do you want to do? And then the next day, when you're like at 65%, you decide to go back to work, right? Because you can't take more than one day off of work, could you? How many people actually maximize their sick days, or how many people actually take 2 days off for a sick day? That is super rare. I guarantee it's super rare. People don't do it, right? So what are you doing to try to make that to make that mindset shift? To understand that your health is so important. So, I think it's a really difficult thing that happens. Look at all these great, a lot of people, of course, working for themselves now. But yeah, James, you're working for yourself. But if you get sick or have a health challenge, do you plow through it, or do you actually take a break? Do you work on self-care? Something to think about. I'm putting it out there because again, a lot of entrepreneurs, we get burnt out. We don't do. I mean, I am guilty too of not having self-care. I think that it's good. Looks like Mitch put the same comment a second time. That's all right. He's talking about self-directed change, which is really good. So what are some of the things that workplaces can do? I know some workplaces. I was talking to my nephew yesterday, and his workplace has a nap room. I mean, that's the coolest thing ever. A nap room. That's kind of cool. I like that. Other ones, have. They have like a basketball or video games or a foosball table for people to de-stress. Some companies have on summer hours on Friday they can take off in the afternoon, which again is pretty rare, but it's good. It's a good thing to have, right? And going back to, and actually Dave makes a great point. If you are sick, you are a health risk to other people in the workplace. You are spreading that stuff. So instead of so you're like, well, if I take 2 days off, I will lose 2 days of productivity. But if you make 5 other people sick, you've now lost 5, 10, 20 days of sick days of productivity. So it's important for you to, again, take care of yourself. And I like that. I like your idea there, Marianne. A retreat, that'd be nice. I mean, for me, I like going to a spa, get a massage, and just chill. I think that's a really, really good thing. I also think you should encourage friends to go for walks. Yeah. James finds VR relaxing. Wow, okay. I've never tried VR. Summer hours, Jennifer, I'm glad you're doing that. Now, the big question, Jennifer, is how many are actually doing summer hours? How many actually engage in the summer hours? Because I know when I was at a workplace and there was summer hours, people felt guilty about doing that. They felt guilty about, oh, well, I have so much work to do and I feel bad. But a lot of people, this entire summer will go by and they wouldn't take it even once. So it's important for us to encourage that. Lululemon has an open air yoga studio. Oh, that makes sense. I mean, Lululemon should have a studio. A game company should have games. These are all different things and James is pushing VR, which I didn't even think about it. I didn't realize it could be a great stress reliever. That's kind of cool. Okay. What are some of the things that workplaces should stop doing when it comes to dealing with health challenges? I mean, one, they should definitely end the stigma around having any sort of health challenge, no matter what it is or how severe it is. They should offer as much support as they can, both, particularly, whether it's short-term disability or long-term disability. You shouldn't feel guilty for taking that or using that. You have a right to use that. You shouldn't feel guilty about taking your sick days. You have a right to do that. You shouldn't be encouraged to work from home when you're sick. Like rest up. Depends on what it is, right? Wow, sorry to hear someone got a stroke. Oh my gosh, yeah, no job is worth permanent damage to your health. Like that's if you can. Oh, I like this. You can find a new job, but you can't find a new body. And I'm glad you fully recovered. Holy cow, that's yeah. I remember years ago, I actually got an ulcer from working too hard too, and I just ignored it. But then until my body's like, Bobby, I can't do it. You need to take care of yourself. So again, these health place challenges always happen. What else can work do to support you is find if it's not working out in terms of the workplace, maybe help you transition to something else that's less stressful or to another job to offer you that support there. I mean, because if you leave a company on really happy terms, then you will talk about them in many great ways, and I think that's going to be really beneficial to you. And I'd love to hear more from all of you down below. Like, comment below. What are some of the things that workplaces can do better to deal with health challenges? What can they stop doing to that? So, wow, Simeon, that's powerful. You had a seizure once at work, and my VP drove me to the hospital. That's great. That's people at work stepping up. I think that's a really good thing to hear. I'm glad that person took care of you. I'm glad you're okay. And again, it's amazing actually when I look at the list of the different things people are having or challenged with. Like, I mean, yeah, it's immense, and we haven't even gotten to like really crazy things like cancer or something like that. I mean, my diabetes is still a challenge, and I'm still managing it, but it's definitely something that if I was at work, I'd have to be mindful of it all the time. And you met your wife there. That's awesome. Yeah, so and James, you're loving the VR experience. That's good. So VR experiences have workout and stress relieving type experiences. That's kind of cool. I think that's great. So definitely do that. I sometimes play Super Mario Kart. These are things that I'll do. And I think work should encourage you to go home if you're sick. I think your bosses and this culture has to be inbred. Like HR has a role to play in promoting this. Your boss and CEOs have a role to play to move that culture down. Employees in the front line have to embed the culture with this to start change the culture to one that's all about health first. I mean, when someone says they're sick, I'm on my team or feeling bad, like fine, take a break, take care of yourself, right? And the reason is because your health is so important because a better you is a better everything else, right? A better you, like if I take care of my health, let's say I got even more fit, more healthy, I'd have more energy. I have energy now, but I have even more energy, and if I got more sleep, I'd have more attention to details and focus, and there's all these benefits you would have by taking care of yourself. Well, that's a cool idea. So desk massage. Invite students learning massage to come in for an hour in the morning one day and surprise your teams. Cool. Yeah, I'll take that. Bring it in. I love that. That's a good idea. So massage teams for the workplace. Let's bring that in. I like that. I think that would be really awesome. Um, Well, and again, Dave, found VR stressful. Listen, everyone, some people don't find massages stressful. That's okay. You have to find what works for you. I also love nature, going for a walk in nature. Anytime there's water, like a lake or an ocean, I find that to be really soothing, relieving for me. So I love going camping. So these are things that I do to, again, help me deal with the stresses of our daily lives. And again, I'd love to hear more from everyone down below if you have any experiences or have heard of experiences of negative situations that workplaces have done. And because I think we need to be able to call these things out and encourage them to try to be better about that in terms of supporting people that are going through like mental health leaves or stress leaves or physical disease and challenges they're dealing with, to help them live better, be better, and ultimately be better employees, because again, a better them is a better everyone else. It actually serves the company better, serves the team better to do that. And so yeah, I think that's a really, really good thing. So if no one else has any more questions, I mean, it's been a great topic today. What are your workplace challenges? If you like what you're hearing, comment, like, love, heart, share this with on your feeds, tag people who join the conversation. I'm here every Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, to share my live stream and my broadcast. And I'm also looking for guests. I've already booked guests for the next several weeks, but I'm also trying to put the entire funnel of guests for my Wisdom Wednesdays. And if I get even more people, I'll do even more interviews. That's totally, I'm happy to do that in Toronto. If people have other ones, I'll do that as well. Marianne mentions a 3-minute guided meditation. Sure, that might work for a lot of people. I've always not been able to do meditation very well, but I think that it can work for many, many people. Actually today is really interesting because I have 3 live streams. I'm doing one at 2:15 with my friend Staffo on personal branding and public speaking. I'm doing another one with actually the head of Social Live, which is going to be very interesting with David, and that's at 4:30 p.m. And then I'm doing a tweet chat on Twitter at 11:30 a.m. So lots going on for me today. Mostly interviews, sharing content. Hopefully you can check them out. I also shared a post today if you want to check that out too. I'm not posting as much anymore because I'm doing the LinkedIn Lives every day. But for the most part, it's fun to share thoughts, share my content with you guys. So thank you everybody for joining me today. If you have any other questions or any other topic suggestions, comment below, let me know. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day at work. See you soon.